Hello, everybody. I am so excited. Thank you for joining me tonight. It is Sunday, August 15th at 7 p.m. Central Time, and I'm so excited for today's card. I'm going to talk a little bit slow, make sure that nobody misses anything because I did come on like a minute early. I was just so ready. So we'll just kind of hold on for just a second till the clock actually hits 7 o'clock, and then we'll get started. But if you're watching the replay, you can skip ahead a little bit until I start the card. All right, let's see. If you're joining me, please say hello. And I see Alicia's on. Hi, Alicia. And we'll get started in just a second. Like I said, I'm just waiting for it to actually hit 7. I was just too excited. Okay, now it's 7. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, Mom. Okay, the first thing I want to say is that in the description of the video, hi, Deb. In the description of the video, there is a coordinating blog post, and that will not be live until 8 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning, but I wanted it to be there ready for you. So if you click it right now, you're going to get an error on my website because it's not live yet. So just know that. And also make sure you're commenting because you will have a chance to win the card we make tonight, which is super fun. All right, let's talk about this card. So this is the card we're going to make tonight. It is so cute, and look at that adorable bird. This is from the Happy Holidays stamp set, and I wasn't going to get the stamp set, and then I had to. It was one of the ones that was like on the C list, if you know what I mean, and then it quickly jumped to the A list because it's so cute, and it comes to us from the mini catalog, and we love this mini catalog for Christmas cards and things. So we're going to make this card today. And I want to say before I get started that this soft pastel technique that I am showing you today, I actually learned from fellow demonstrator, and I apologize if I say her name poorly, but I believe it's Norel Fasulo. And so she is the one I saw this technique from, and I thought it was awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to set the card off to the side. Hopefully it's not going to fall onto the screen. There we go. Okay. So on the blog post that I was just talking about that won't be live until 8 a.m. Central Time tomorrow, I've got all the measurements. So I'll try to give them to you as I go tonight, but I might forget. So they'll be on the blog though. So we're using Mossy Meadow for our card base. And then I've got a piece of basic white for the inside. That's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. We've got this piece of Sahara sand that I've already gone ahead and scalloped a border on. And I'll tell you, this one is 3 3/4 by about 3 5/8. So 3 5/8, 3 3/4. Had to measure that. Then I've got this piece of watercolor paper. So I know it looks like it's just basic white, but it's actually watercolor paper. And this is 3 1/2 by 3 inches. Then I've got a scrap of Bumblebee for our sentiment and a scrap of Mossy Meadow to use to punch out some holly leaves. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm actually going to start with the inside of the card because I'm going to use this bird on the inside of the card. And to do that cool watercolor or the watercolor technique, I get the stamp pretty messy. So we're going to go ahead and start with the inside of the card because I don't know. I don't want it's kind of a mess to clean up, I'll be honest. So I've got Sahara sand ink there. I'm going to stamp him off once, and that's just because I think my Sahara sand is like super juicy, and so the color is darker than I like it to be. Not a big deal, but you know, it is what it is, right? So I'm going to go ahead and clean this bird right away because we're going to use him again, and we'll see. He's all clean. All right. Okay, so then we're going to just go ahead and finish the inside of the card because why not? We're already here. And I've got Poppy Parade ink. And then this sentiment here says, wishing your family health and happiness throughout the coming year, which I think is so sweet. And we're going to go ahead and just stamp that down like that. So cute. And I'll close that up so I don't, get ink all over the place. All right. And now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you all the messy things. So I've got my watercolor paper here. And what I'm going to do is I've got this bird, right? He's on a block. And what I've got is a Stampin' Spritzer filled with water. Okay, so if you remember way back, and actually I think I have a piece here. Do you remember when we made the alcohol background? That used a spritzer with alcohol in it. And this is my alcohol one. It says alcohol on it. So this is my water one. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go off screen for a second, but I'm going to spritz this down with water. Yeah, the stamp. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it's so fun. All right, hold on one second. Okay, so he's got water all over him. And I didn't want to spritz it on here because I didn't want to make everything damp. So he's got water on him. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my pastels. Okay. And this is where the cool part comes in. Now, these pastels are kind of like chalk, so they can get pretty messy. I'll just, pre-warn you, they can get pretty messy. But this color here is the Poppy Parade color. And I'm going to take this pastel and I'm going to just, bring it right directly onto the bird. So you can see how I'm like coloring onto those stamps or the lines there. And this is why we want watercolor paper too, because of the water we spritzed onto the stamp. But this is a fun way to use these pastels. And I'll be honest, I did a video, I don't know, maybe a few weeks or months ago, on techniques for the pastels. And it was the first time I had ever used them. So I'm kind of a novice, an amateur, if you will, with these pastels, but they're so fun the more techniques I see with them. Okay, so I used the red to color the upper part of the body, and I'm not sure how well you can see that. Maybe it's easier there, but because it's red rubber, I think it's a little bit harder to see. But I used that, and I'll put that back in there, and then I'm going to pull out this yellow one, and I think this is supposed to be Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to go ahead and color like the underside of his stomach with this Daffodil Delight and his little feet. What are bird feet called? Does anybody know? Are they just called feet? Or are they talons? Is that right? It might be talons. Oh my gosh. It's Sunday night and my brain has turned off in anticipation for the week. All right, now I've got this green here, and you can see it's actually kind of messy because of when I was doing the sample card. And this is the Mossy Meadow color, I believe. Or maybe it's supposed to be Soft Succulent. I'm not really sure, to be honest. And Alicia asked, are these like the old Stampin' Up! Crayons? And you know what? To be honest, I don't know. I would have to figure that out. So let me see. I can tell you that they don't really feel like sidewalk chalk. They are like, I mean, it is chalk, right? It's a pastel. They don't really feel like sidewalk chalk though in your hand. They are messy and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these pastels off to the side. And now, so you can see I've got all those colors on there, and I took the green and the yellow and I kind of mixed them together, and then I made it really dark around the eye. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz it again. Now, I thought that this was pretty watered down, and so when I was making my sample card, I'll show you. When I was making this, the other side of this actually has my first attempt, and I didn't like it because I didn't spritz it again, and I didn't love how it looked. So, note to self, more water is good. So I'm going to spritz this again. All right. And then what I'm going to do, and like I said, this is so wet and messy, and so you want to it's one and done here. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and flip him over and stamp him onto this watercolor paper, just like this. And you'll see, look at how cool that is. Doesn't that look so neat? Okay, I'm going to set this off to far out of my reach so I don't rub my arm in it. Okay. Oh, yes, it's so cool. It's so cool. Also, I'm going to mention that I am streaming to both YouTube and Facebook. So if it seems like I'm talking to myself, I am, but I'm also probably talking to somebody on the platform that you're not watching on. Okay, so that's how that is, but you can see that it's pretty watered down. So if I picked it up and bent it, it would, go everywhere. So I'm actually just going to carefully pick it up and set it to the side to dry while we work on our next thing. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is bring in my big old stamp and cut and emboss machine. And I know it takes up the whole camera screen, but that's okay, right? And what I've got here is Stampin' Up! Has this pack of mini embossing folders called the Wintry 3D embossing folders. And there's a cool snowflake pattern in here, but there's also this cool like pine cone pattern. And I'm going to use that, or evergreen pattern maybe, but it kind of looks like pine cones to me. So I'm going to use this pine cone pattern. And what's neat about this is that these mini embossing folders can fit in the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which is awesome. But what I don't love is that I really like this pattern and it's not big enough for this whole piece of paper, right? You can see there it hangs off the edge. So I'm going to show you another technique on how to get this to go the whole way. And maybe you already knew this, but maybe you didn't, or maybe you haven't tried it out. Like I knew about this technique, but I had never tried it. So I'm putting half of it under there, and we're going to go ahead and emboss. And I'm going to say too, the border that I have on there is actually from the Scalloped Contours dies, which is from the Color and Contour bundle in the annual catalog. And they have some really awesome shapes, but my favorite thing is this cool little, whoops, sorry, I was off camera. This cool little border. I love that. Okay, so you can see I've got half of it embossed. So I'm going to go ahead and I bet you guessed this. And I'm trying my best to make sure I'm on camera. I'm going to go ahead and emboss the other half of this. Okay. And I'm just making sure that I don't get it too overlapped. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and run this through. While I do this, I'd love to know how your weekends have been. Mine has been really great. Honestly, I don't remember what I did on Friday. Other than worked. But on Saturday, I went to see a show at an outdoor theater. And today we had brunch with my other niece who lives in Nebraska. She was up here this weekend, so we got to see her. Okay, so you can see here, though, I'll jump back to the card and story, you know. But you can see here that we've got this whole piece embossed. And let me move this guy out of the way. But there's a seam in the middle. Can you see that? There, maybe you kind of can there. There's a seam right here in the middle, and that's just going to happen when you do this. So I would recommend covering most of that up, but honestly, it doesn't look too bad. Like it's not super noticeable. So let's go ahead and work a little more on the card while we let our birdie dry. So we are using this Mossy Meadow card base, and I'll go ahead and burnish this. And we're going to go ahead and use the cute little holly leaf and Mossy Meadow ink to add some of these holly berries or the leaves to the background. And I think that this is a great way to add some texture, especially because I'm a big fan of like adding designer series paper or an embossing folder or something to give texture on the back, but I didn't want to take away from the bird because you can see here there's a lot going on. So I went ahead and just did the tone-on-tone stamping with those holly berries, and I thought that was a really subtle way to add some texture, which is pretty fun. But anyway, what I was saying, though, is that we were able to go to brunch to see my niece, who is 15, and she starts school in a few days, which is like, boo, school. But it's okay. She'll be great. Okay, so we've got that all stamped. And then what I'm going to do, we're going to check in on our bird here quick. I'll show you. I don't know if you can see, he's still pretty wet. So if he is still wet by the time I am ready for him, we're just going to go ahead and use our heat tool to dry him up a little bit. Okay, Alicia said, a pretty low-key weekend, spent a lot of time on the patio reading. Oh, that's awesome. What are you reading? Do you like to read like fiction or nonfiction? I'm a big fiction fan. I don't know why. I can't really get into nonfiction. Never could. I like stories like Harry Potter and things like that, but my favorite book is called The Book Thief. It's very good. I'd recommend it. If you like to read, I'd recommend it. Okay, so I got that inside piece on there. What I'm going to do next is go ahead and stamp my sentiment. And we're going to use just some black ink, although the Mossy Meadow would probably work for this too because it's dark enough. But I just wanted to go for some good old black ink. So I've got my Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp this down. Whoops, move that out of the way. stamp that down like that, and we're going to go ahead and trim it a little bit so that it doesn't take up so much space. In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware is what Alicia is reading. What is that about? If you can summarize it. All right, so I'm just going to trim this down, and honestly, I'm probably not going to be the straightest, but it's okay, because if you win this card, you won't mind, right? Okay, let's trim this way too. I should have used my trimmer. Let me try that again. Hold on one second, because I don't like that. Let me grab out another piece of Bumblebee. And we're going to do that sentiment again. Because I said I didn't mind that it was a little crooked, but then it was like really crooked. And that is one of the downsides of the rubber stamps, is you can't tell as well. But it's okay, because I think they stamp better images. There we go. That looks better, and that should help me out. And we will use the trimmer this time. I just have to get it out because it's buried under all this stuff. Under my little basket that holds all of my stuff so it doesn't get in my way. Okay, so let's go ahead and trim this sentiment down. And I'm going to go ahead and line it up. And I'm looking in the middle here of this runner to make sure that none of the text is in there. And it wasn't. And so that is what I do to trim it. All right. Alicia said, it's a thriller about a group of friends staying at a house for the weekend in the woods. That sounds like you're getting ready for Halloween. Which I think I'm ready for Halloween. I bought a Halloween sweatshirt today because I just love it. All right, so I'm going to make a little banner, and I'm just using my snips to make the banner, but we do have a banner punch too, if you like that, if that's your preferred method. But I just made a slit down the middle and then cut from the corners into the middle there. And now we've got that all ready to go. Let's see, what else can we do while we wait for the bird to dry? All right, let's go ahead and punch out some of these holly leaves. Now I'm using this holly border punch, and I'm trying not to blind you, but let's see if I can show you. Here's what the backside looks like. And it's a cool punch because you can like continue lining it up all the way down to make a cool border. But I'm not going to do a whole border today. I'm just going to punch some out. So I've got that lined up, and it's so tight because I'm reaching so far. Okay, hold on. I got to stand up and put some force. Ready? There we go. So there are a bunch of cool holly pieces. And let's see which ones I want. I want all the leaves. And I don't want all these other little guys. So I'm going to brush them off to the side. I should have used my vacuum to clean those up. My little desktop vacuum. Hold on, I want to burnish this again. Are you guys like OCD about that? I am. I want my cards to lay flat. All right, maybe it's just me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take this guy then, and I'm going to flip him over, and I'm just going to put some seal on the back because I want to add those holly leaves so that they hang off the back a little bit. So I'm putting this down, and then I'm just going to take these leaves and kind of assemble them randomly. I don't really know, if I'm being honest, I don't really know how holly leaves are assembled. Maybe that's something I'll have to learn this Christmas. But I just make it, look pretty. Look however I want it to look. And I might need a glue dot for that one because I already covered up all the adhesive. But we'll go ahead and just keep adding these little guys. And I love that Stampin' Up! Is giving us more punches because punches are awesome. I do love dies too, but punches are so convenient, don't you think? All right, so we've got those guys on there. I am going to use a glue dot just for our last little holly berry there or holly leaf there because I used up the rest of the seal or like blocked it all. Okay, so we're going to stick him right about there, I think. Yeah, that's pretty cute, right? Okay, let's go ahead, check in on our bird again because I think it's time. We can't wait for him any longer. And he's still a little wet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my heat tool and like leaves on the tag. Like leaves on the tag. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to bring in my heat tool and I'm trying to stretch it as far as I can, but the cord won't let me go any farther. There is a level 1 here, and that's what I'm going to go to and dry this guy off, okay? So because I can't stretch this any farther, I'm going to have to pick this up. So hold on 1 second while I dry him. Okay, sorry about that. I was trying not to splatter everywhere. And now I'm reading. Oh, Alicia said she likes the leaves on the tag. Yes, following. I do too. Thank you. I liked that little added touch of that punch. Okay, so now he's all done, but because these are pastels, it is, you know, like I said, it's kind of like chalk. And so I don't want it to rub off on everything. So you need to use like a fixative to keep everything in place. And so I've got some handy dandy hairspray here, and I'm just going to spray them down with hairspray, and that'll help the pastels to not rub off. So give me 1 second. Okay, now he's got hairspray on him. Every bird needs a little hairspray, right? Okay, so now that he's got that, and I don't know about you guys, but I hate the smell of hairspray. So it smells pretty gross in my craft room now. But that's okay. Anything for the bird, right? Okay, so now that he's all done, I'm going to use some seal. And we're going to go ahead and lay him on here. And I'm making sure that the border is the same width on the sides and the top. Now, I thought that this looked pretty bare when I was designing the card. And so I thought I would add in some of this gorgeous ribbon, which is called the Ruffled Ribbon. Let me see. Yeah, Real Red Rouge ribbon. And it is real red, and we used Poppy Parade, but I'm going to be honest, this looks more like Poppy Parade to me. So this is what we're going to use, and I thought that was such a cute little addition to our card. So I'm just cutting off enough to stretch over. We're not doing a bow or a knot or anything fancy like that, just enough to wrap around here to kind of hide that seam there. So what I'm going to actually do is run some adhesive down like this on the back of that panel, and then I'm going to pick it up and we're going to hold this down, and I'm just going to wrap that ribbon around, and it's going to attach to the seal on the other side. And then we'll do the same with this side here, just like that. And look at how cute that is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some seal on the back, and because this piece is embossed, I would recommend putting as much adhesive on as possible, because you just want that adhesive to attach everywhere it possibly can. So we've got that down, and now I'm going to put this on the card. Super cute. I'm going to flip it over just to get that all sealed on there. And then what I'm going to do is add on our cute little tag. And you notice I had it flipped over the whole time, and that's because there's adhesive revealed, and I didn't want it to stick. But now what we're going to do is this is going to lay, one of my little holly berries came off. Hold on. Let me get it attached to the adhesive. There we go. This is going to lay like right about here. And so the tricky part about it is that this ribbon adds a little bit of a layer. Okay, so when I flip this over, I'm just going to put dimensionals on the top half here and then down here on the side because it lays off. And so I'm actually going to use our mini dimensionals because I found that they work a little bit better for this. So I'm going to use, I don't know, maybe 4, and just line them all the way across the top here. And it's fine if they go on the holly leaves. And I'm sorry if I call them holly berries. I feel like I've called them holly berries a couple times tonight, but I'm talking about holly leaves. So just so we're all clear. And then down at the end here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use 2 mini dimensionals stacked on top of each other. Now we didn't use dimensionals to adhere this, but because of that ribbon and the embossed piece, there is still a little bit of an extra layer there. So it just kind of sticks a little bit better with the 2 dimensionals stacked on top of each other for the very end. So I'm trying to peel off the backings here. And I apologize if you hear background noise. It sounds like a neighbor is mowing their lawn. But hopefully you can't hear that. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is lay this right on here. Just like that. Isn't that so cute? So you can see here too with those 2 dimensionals that it just kind of lays a little bit better. Can you, I'm trying to show you. There you go. Can you see that? Super cute. All right, all we have to do to finish this guy off is add in some embellishments, and we're going to use the brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. That is a lot to say, but they're super cute. And so I'm going to use the gold ones, and we're going to use 1 of the big ones and then 2 of the little ones. Just like that. Isn't that so cute? And that is our card. So thank you so much. Oh, thank you for the love it and for the so cute. I really appreciate you guys watching and tuning in. Here, let me bring in this guy too. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you're here. I've got some great stuff coming out this week. Like I said, the blog post will have pictures, measurements, products used, all of that stuff. It is already linked on the video, but it will not be live until 8 a.m. Central Time on Monday, August 16th, which is tomorrow if you're watching this live. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video or love it if you're on Facebook, because there's a heart option on Facebook. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, or like my Facebook page if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, by the way, if you commented tonight, you will go in a drawing to win the card that I made tonight, this guy right here. And I will post that winner pretty soon here. I'll just clean up and then I'll draw a name and we'll see who won. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.